If you enjoy our show, spread the love wherever you listen by rating, reviewing, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff to help us get ourselves out there. And with that said, let's start the show. I'm Ode. That's Vicky. I'm me. You're you. We are we.
Oh my god, that was so corny.
The You, Me, We podcast. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. Vicky, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, full disclosure. We did record this episode.
Oh, true. I mean, I guess you had to say that because
everyone saw
we're wearing different clothes.
Yeah. So you probably saw a preview teaser photo. We were wearing different clothes. I was looking fresh to death. Vicky was looking a hot mess. And I'm kidding.
You're so sweet.
Well, you're my wife. We recorded, and we both felt like we just kind of ran through it, and we were touching on just about everything about the wedding, about
very generically.
Yeah.
But people want the details.
Exactly. So we figured we would re-record, maybe even do like a two-parter, just kind of focus on, well, for the first part, focus on the first part of like leading up to our wedding, as well as the Friday event that we had, and then maybe the second part we'll talk about the actual day of the wedding. Our dog is behind us panting
her life away. Like, Amore, please stop.
For those who know, whenever we record, or if you've been to my studio, I turn the AC off, so it could be that she's hot. She ran up the stairs, and she is getting old. Yeah. Older. She was here from the jump. So let's start from the beginning, Vicky. You first laid eyes on me 12, 13 years ago. No, not even 16, 17 years ago. And you went, oh my gosh, who's that beautiful ball black chocolate? And then...
Is that how you remember it?
That's how I remember it. So...
Wow. I don't think we ever discussed that.
How we first... I'm sure
how we first met?
I'm sure we talked about it.
I don't think we have.
Somebody go through all the episodes and let us know if you ever talked about it. If not, we'll talk about it 2 episodes from now. Yeah. So we got married.
Yes.
We are married.
Full circle from
Where's
episode.
Your ring? Nope. Okay. No ring.
My ring is right here.
Okay. Can you explain that first of all for those who are watching on the video?
So I'm wearing the silicone bands, or those rubber bands that people wear. I bought a really thin one because those thick ones, I have small fingers. So I bought that because I am I don't want to say clumsy because I feel like you're clumsy. I'm not clumsy, but my hands are just like always all over the place. And I've broken watches and all I'm doing is walking. Like I distinctively remember my wrist like slamming into a brick wall in the face of my very expensive watch broke, which is why I don't wear watches. And if I do, I don't wear these nice ones. I wear like, little ones. So I know that I'm going to slam my hands into something, or I'm just like really aggressive in some of the things I do. And I would probably damage the ring. So this is my everyday ring wear. And last night I was told it looks like just a little ring.
And I wear my
actual band.
My wedding band is actually also my engagement band.
Yes.
Save money. One band. So like you were saying, full circle, first episode was titled Why Aren't We Married?
Why We Aren't Married.
Why We Aren't Married. And we explained why we were living in sin.
The best way we could.
The best way we could. Why we weren't married after, at that time, 10 years?
9
years. So
about 9 or 8 years.
So we got married this past Saturday? 2 Saturdays ago.
2 Saturdays ago.
2 Saturdays ago. And it was a weekend of events. By weekend, I mean Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Thursday, if you want to count the rehearsal. But a lot went into it.
I mean, do you want to start at Thursday?
No. I want to start
like earlier in the week.
I want to start earlier to the point where, okay, what did we decide to do first of all?
Okay, so actually,
let's start with 2020, I guess.
So we got engaged in 2019, and then we were like, okay, like we'll do it next year. So
because that's what
pandemic,
people do,
right? Yeah. Pandemic. And our wedding got canceled by Murphy.
Postponed. Didn't cancel
Yeah, but then eventually got canceled because he definitely was like, yeah, that's indefinite. We don't know when we're going to come back to having things in person. So, which was a little bit of a relief for us because...
we weren't ready.
Not only were we not ready financially...
we weren't ready.
But we weren't ready with each other as a couple. Which puts so much into perspective.
Yeah.
You know, like about like the rush of the ring and, you know, it puts so much of that into perspective. But we also just weren't, like, we didn't plan anything, to be honest with you. I think I was giving out invitations the day that Murphy canceled weddings until further notice. And that's about all that we did for that wedding, invitations. And like, that's it. Like, there was nothing. Oh, we booked a place, which was like a Mason Hall in Princeton. Because we were like, we want to do outdoors, and we just wanted to be really chill, like really vibe. You know, like the vibe to just be chill and good.
Nothing too formal.
Nothing stuffy. We just want people to be relaxed so that they can have fun.
Maybe like 150 people. Maybe like 100 people. That's what we were saying at the time. Like 100,
that's what you said. I'm like, well, I'm related to 100 people on one side.
That's what we were saying. But as we started doing the list, we started realizing that Vicky...
the list.
That Vicky couldn't keep it to...
I can't.
Just her
I'm related... You too. You have a ginormous family, but you're easy to cut people off.
Exactly.
Not me.
Cut you off like, especially my aunt.
I grew up.
Kidding.
I grew up with all my family around me, so I can't do that. And by around me, I mean literally, like if not on the same block or in the same house, then right up to the next block. So anyway, so we didn't have the wedding in 2020, but we did continue a lot of therapy.
A lot.
And then in 2021, we revisited the idea of a wedding.
We were in a better place.
We were in a better...
As a couple, we were in a much better place.
We were in a better place, but I feel like now we're even in a much better place than before.
Well, because you're my wife.
And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, wait, do I really want to be in the dead of July in the heat?
That was an argument that needed our therapist to jump in because you wanted September.
Oh, so then we started exploring other months.
Yeah.
But Ode's very restricted on the months that he can do, and I am not. So I'm like, well, I want it outside, and I already bought my dress. So that was the thing. I already bought my dress. It was already paid in full. But, of course, she comes closer to pant.
I know.
So I was like, well, let's do it in September. Even though it's still hot, it's more bearable. And hopefully there'll be like a little bit of wind or something. Then he's like, no, I am in the industry or whatever
that I work in. September, it's busy. We're back to school. People, events are going on. I also DJ.
That's when all the schools also book him.
That's when I make my
DJ
money
and stuff. So he's like, September's out of the question, and I'm like, well, October's like way too out there, and we can't do October because I want it to be outdoors, and I just can't do that. So our options were end of June, July, and August.
And we settled on July.
Because we were like, it's far away from June and it's far away from September. So we'll be able to like just focus on the wedding.
But just so you know, and I'm assuming other couples are like this. I was going to say brides, but couples are like this. Where it's not just like, oh, it might be hot, it might be rainy. No. Checking like Farmer's Almanac, looking at trends.
Like looking at weather trends. Because again, this is an outdoor wedding. So... And it's not so much that it was outdoors. It was outdoors on grass. So even if it rained the day before,
you got to factor that in.
You got to factor that in because then everybody's gonna be in mud. You know, like it was just a big thing. So because of all of that, we were like, you know what? Let's go inside. Like I think our best option is to go inside. My grandmother is very elderly, so I don't want to put her in to just be uncomfortable. So let's just go inside. And then we started looking for places. And then I was calling places. And I was like, oh, they lost their mind. That's not happening. Like, it's like 150 people, like $30-something thousand for like the most basic venue. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. First of all, it's super stuffy. Like these walls are plain. And that's just like,
and nothing
that's
against,
just for the venue.
Yeah.
it just is not my style.
Nothing against those that use the traditional wedding
because
hall
that's probably
locations.
their style, but that's not my style. Like I don't like stuffiness. So I don't know who told me about that place. No, she didn't tell me.
Oh, okay.
I told her I was getting married, and she's like, "What?"
You sure it wasn't her?
No, it wasn't her. I don't know how I found this place. I can't remember. So I was on Google. I know someone mentioned it to me, and that's how I ended up Googling it.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up Googling the Art Factory, and I was like, "Oh, this kind of like looks interesting." I remember seeing it years ago, but I didn't think anything of it. It was at her baby shower.
Whose baby shower?
Jessica's baby shower.
So it was Jessica.
No, it wasn't her. It was her photographer.
I'm
that
glad.
said, I'm getting married at the Art Factory.
Okay.
And then I remembered that he said that, and I Googled it randomly Googled it, and I saw the pictures. I'm like, oh, this looks like so nice. This is so like untraditional, which is what I was kind of going for.
I'm just glad we don't have to credit Jessica with anything yet.
No, we do. We do. For two things. Two big things. So I ended up Googling it. Me and Ode in 2021, we headed out to get an appointment.
Oh, yeah.
We went and saw it, and they were like, yeah, it's like you just rent the space. We do the decor, and
the space is yours.
And the space is yours. And we're like, okay, so like what's the time limit? What's the guest limit? They're like,
the space
it's
is yours.
Yours.
For anyone listening
do what you want. It's yours.
If you're listening right now, definitely, before we go any further, go ahead and Google Art Factory and just Google a picture of it.
Yeah.
And think, oh, this is where my friends got married. And you're going to look at it, you're going to say, oh my gosh, maybe they were hard up for money. Because when you see the location.
It does not. It's not, because the location is, I think their main business is weddings. Yeah. But they also do everything.
Film, photography.
Right.
When you look
art shows, anything. Baby showers, Sweet 16s, like anything. They do anything because you're just renting the space, and then you do what you need to do for the day of.
What do you see from the outside? How would you describe it from the outside?
It's in Patterson. No offense, but it's in Patterson. It's just brick building.
Does it scream wedding hall?
No.
Does it scream?
It has cobblestones, like the stone.
Does it scream inhabitable from the outside?
No, not even from the inside.
It's pretty much 3 or so factory, old school factory buildings.
So they actually own all those buildings.
Yeah.
But I think that slowly they're converting all the spaces into, like rentable event spaces. So we went and saw the place, and once they told us, like, yeah, we'll do the decor, and we will, you can have your dog here. We were like, okay, so.
Yep.
So we walked it. We liked the idea. Like what they were going for, it was really similar to what we wanted, which is like freedom. We just wanted the freedom to have our own food and freedom to have, everything ourselves. Not because we're like these DIYers, but again, we're not. We didn't want that stuffy vibe. Like, no offense, but I didn't want pasta. Like, I didn't want, just certain dishes that I come with like banquet halls. I didn't want it. So it worked out for us. And then we were like, okay, place is booked. Awesome. Okay, now we chill. Did nothing.
No, because we chilled. We
chilled hard.
We chilled until
hard.
Maybe if we got married in July.
A few months before.
We chilled up until I would say
March. April?
Yeah. Chilled as in like
but we were still chilling. We were still chilling. Yeah, we had to do. Yeah, we got started in March because that's when we sent the new invites out. Yeah. And by that time we were like, yeah, we're going digital because that's it. So we did the guest list. Like, it took from like November to February to do that guest list, which was absolutely painful. And then it was painful. I know it was painful for me because I had to. So like I said, I had already given out invitations to the 2020 wedding. I had to uninvite some people.
Some people didn't make the cut.
No, it's not that they didn't make the cut, but I had to invite some people because between the time I gave out those invitations and the new wedding, I had, like, I guess you can say, rekindled or re-strengthened relationships with my dad's side of the family,
as well as cultivated new
and there was like No, it wasn't really that, because it wasn't that many. I'm not that friendly. But it was really that I rekindled relationships with my dad's side of the family, and a lot of my cousins are my age.
Shout out to Ramon. What's up, dog?
So
Dad.
So I had to I don't even call him that. So I had to invite, not that I had to, but I wanted to invite my family to the wedding. So I had to make some cuts. And like, that was really, it was really uncomfortable for me. I reached out to like one of my friends. I reached out to her. I'm like, listen, I'm so sorry. And I told her straight up, because I'm like, I don't want her to see eventually that I got married and she never received an invitation after receiving the first one. And thankfully she's, hopefully she's like, oh, okay. But she was like, no, I totally understand. But I kept it real with her, because I'm like, I respect you enough to tell you like what's going on. So that's pretty much what happened, which was awkward. But we ended up doing the guest list, which was very painful. And then after we did the guest list, we have to keep doing it over, because then we spoke to our moms, and then we spoke to like our siblings, and then we spoke to some cousins.
Can we talk about this? So shout out to my mom, right? So my mom, shout out to everyone who has planned the wedding, and you have that family member, most likely it's your mom.
Most likely it's a mom.
Yeah. I say this with all the love possible. My mom and I, we had this conversation, so she knows it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
My mom was definitely. My thing was, let me add my mom. If you're adding somebody to your guest list, you factor in, are they dating? Are they married?
Yeah. Oh, that was a big thing too. Like,
so I'm like, okay, this person's not dating. That person got a boo. That person only been with their person for like 2 months, or that person is wifed up, booed up. My mom, I was like, okay, I'll give her a +1. I don't know what she'd be doing. What she
originally you didn't.
No, I gave her a +1.
Not originally. You gave her a +1. You gave her a +1 when she shout you out, when we were on video here. And then you gave her a +1, and then she's like, "What you doing to me?" Like,
so I gave her a +1. And she's
one.
She's on some like one. Had the nerve to be like, "Well, how many guests are Vicky's mom? Does Vicky's mom have?" I'm like, one.
One. Her
spouse. So eventually, I got bullied into making sure my mom had her +5.
Yeah.
She even tried to do the whole like, so me +5. I was like, no. You got 5, including you. But my mom. So my mom had her +5, but shout out to her. Everyone that was on her list are people that I appreciate, adore.
And they had so much fun.
Yeah. And this is like family and stuff. And so I know we probably have some friends and family listening that weren't invited. I don't think at any time we didn't have like a I'm not going to invite you list. We had a list of, okay, here's my invite list. Here's how many people I can have, and that's what people gotta understand. Like, we did. You gotta cut it off at some point.
So we decided on, this is how many people we're gonna have each, and then we're splitting down the middle.
Yeah, and then
here's your list. This is my list. So anyone that I want to invite on my list, as I don't think that at that point there was anyone on each other's list that we had to be like, yo, do not invite ABC, whatever. Like, whoever he chose to have on his list, I was confident that he wanted, that he thought so highly of them that they would want to be there, and that I probably already met them and stuff like that. And there was nobody on my list. But that's really what it was. Like, we just went down the list, split in the middle.
And a lot of that criteria was...
The good thing was we had a lot of, not a lot, but we had a bunch of like...
Some overlap?
Yeah, we had overlap, because obviously people have overlap.
And a lot of that criteria, which I'm assuming a lot of criteria for other couples, is one, those obviously tight connections, those cousins that you're really tight with, that the brother, the sister, as well as here's that friend who probably has had a big impact on us as a couple. Here is that friend of the family who has been like the mentor. Here is that distant friend or family who we haven't seen in a while, but back in the day, y'all were mad tight. And when you do see each other, it's like no time had passed.
Yeah.
And there was still others there were some who, I felt, okay, I was okay not adding to the, we hadn't seen each other in a while. So I felt like they would understand, they would still be happy for me. And I think that everyone should go about a wedding invitation that way. If somebody didn't invite you, I'll still be happy for them.
Yeah, honestly, I guess I mean, it's not fair because I can't impose the way I feel about certain things to other people. But my approach has always been,
you're dead to me. Why should I invite you?
Yeah, right.
Go kill
my
yourself.
approach is always, if you're happy, I'm happy. If you invite me, great. If you don't invite me, I'm gonna still be happy for you. Like I'm never salty about not being invited to weddings because I'm not paying for it. Like even if I come with a baller ass gift, it's still not paying for the wedding. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not covering a huge expense.
Yeah.
So I'm happy both ways, but I would hope that anyone that is connected to me feels that way about weddings too.
So
which might not be true, but that's just my idea.
So let's jump ahead a little bit. Go back to something you said earlier. We did somewhat of a DIY, right?
It was a DIY-ish wedding.
DIY-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're gonna focus now on like that week leading up. So we have our venue. We have our venue for our kwekwe. For those of you who aren't Guyanese or are familiar with it, it's an event you do like I guess like the night before. My dad could explain it much better. I'm paraphrasing. The night before or sometime before, the families get together.
There's a great YouTube video that your dad did a presentation at a college in New York.
Yes.
Where he explains it like detailed. And that honestly, like from watching that video, I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like I understand it. Yeah.
So the families get together. We sing some folk songs. We eat. We drink. We party. Some of you saw the videos. It's some of the folk songs and the message and the lessons that are expressed that night are to prep Vicky and I for marriage life, right?
Marriage night.
And marriage night. That
long?
Yeah, ever heard the rest of the song?
No, we don't want to hear it. Wants to hear it.
So, my dad is like one of the go-to performers, hosts, MC for that kind of event. He plays the drums. He's an entertainer. He's a performer. He's a one-man band. He is the one man.
No, seriously.
So I initially, and it's a Guyanese culture thing. So I initially didn't want one because I just didn't want to add another event to plan, another event for people to have to come out to. Yes. Family and friends were like, no, family was like, no, you are having one.
Yeah. Even I was like, what you mean you're not going to have one?
You're his son. You have to have one.
Yeah, he has to have one.
The last one we went to as a couple was my younger brother. He had one, and it was a hell of a night. So I was like, okay, cool. I guess we have to have one. So we did our best to educate our friends and family who weren't familiar with it, educate them on what it was. We had it on our like a clip on our website.
Yeah. So our website, I would say our website, because we created the website ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're not DIYers.
Yeah, we just made a little page.
We made everything ourselves.
Yeah.
It was very informative. Like you went there, all your questions were answered. Like everything was there.
If you wanted to know whether or not you could wear dress shorts, looking at you, Donnie. You can go to the website, and the website will tell you what's semi-formal. What we envisioned
there were
for
pictures,
semi-formal.
There were explanations, and it was important not because I didn't trust that people wouldn't know what to wear to a wedding, but I wanted people to keep in mind like there's gonna be a lot of people. It's gonna get hot, and the point is for you to have fun. So like, don't dress in something you're not gonna be able to like party in because you're too worried about it looking good. And also the kwekwe,
not too many people were familiar with.
Right. So I'm like, my family's gonna think like, yo, I gotta come dolled up.
It's associated with a wedding.
Stop.
Yeah.
Like just dress nice, just dress comfortable. And I had to like include a description like wear sandals, flats. You can even wear nice sneakers or something. But
yeah.
So, actually, everybody seemed to have read it because everybody came really comfortable.
Yeah.
So which was good.
So that was a great night. We because it was a DIY night, we spent a lot of that week doing a lot of running around. So we had a bartender for like the wedding, and yes, we had the venue and stuff where we had a caterer for the wedding. But for that night and in the wedding itself, we had to go get the drinks. We had to go to Costco's and walk around.
Oh my goodness!
Mind you, we aren't drinkers. We aren't bartenders. We don't be
so much alcohol.
We don't be in the club turning up.
I mean, it's gonna be gone, but
so
it's a lot.
Shout out to I'll give Jessica some credit.
No, all credit. So all credit because Jessica, her bartending business, Precious Bartending, is who bartended for the wedding. Everybody loved the service, and she connected me to the caterer, which everybody loved the food. So, you know, big shout out to her. I remember getting on the phone with her and like, hey, let's have this conversation about bartending and like, you know, what do you need? What are the prices? What is that looking like? She's like, okay, well, this and this. And then you would go through your caterer to do this. And I'm like, she's like, so who's your caterer? I'm like, I don't know. I don't have one. She's like, what?
We got to feed people?
She's like, no, oh my goodness. How could you leave this last minute? And then she sent me a bunch and I ended up choosing one of the ones that she recommended.
So she educated us on, okay, depending on how many people you're going to have, this is how much beer. This is how much wine. This is how much sangria. This is how much
and we probably should have kept to that for both nights, like just following that one rule of thumb for both nights.
We should have.
But we were like, better to be safe than sorry, because I don't, you know, like the worst thing ever, going to anything that has an open bar and they run out of alcohol. That's like, okay.
So Friday we have the event to the point where we're running around to the point where if the event starts at 7:30.
I didn't get there till 9.
I didn't get there till 8 or so. Other people got there, you know, later on. Shout out to Casey, a good friend of mine, former colleague, like a brother to me now. Shout out to Casey and his wife, came all the way from Ohio.
Yes.
Casey is one of those individuals. He's in that demographic that shows up right on time.
Right on time.
Aside from my dad, who got there to set up his equipment, Casey and his wife were there. If the event started at 7:30, Casey got there at, I think, 7:29 p.m. on the dot and wondered why no one was here.
He'd walk to the door like, am I really late?
Wondered why nobody was there. So Casey was there on time. We get there. Vicky, of course, like she said, she got there like an hour later.
I got there at 9.
Yeah. So.
Sorry. I was getting my hair done.
So at that event, it's, you know, my dad was playing the drums. At one point, Vicky's family, before we got started, they were like, yo, we just going to hang out here because we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So my dad just being who he is. Well, shout out to my friend Jay from J3 Kings. He did the music for us, just like the little background music while people were coming in, keep the party going. And then my dad started and he brought out the drum. But he definitely did like his opening set on the keyboard, and he had the harmonica, and he had people dancing. And for those of you watching the video, we're gonna definitely throw in some clips from the event right now. Those of you listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever, go to YouTube and watch the video.
Yeah.
So he had the people dancing. It was a fun way where he kind of brought different people on. So I would go over to him and tell him names of people.
He would call them to go into the middle to dance.
Yeah, unfortunately, I also told him Elba's name. He called her up. And nobody wanted to see that. But shout out, the thing about the night, and later on he brought out the drums. And then there's parts where they highlight you and you're in the middle and they were giving you money. And I'm sorry, giving us money.
Oh my gosh, and so needy
your
right
money
now.
Is my money. And then they were lifting Vicky up on the chair. Shout out to my guys, Vicky's friends who made sure she went up safely and came back down safely. So it was a nice way of just celebrating us as a couple, us individually, our family and friends. It was a nice precursor to what was going to happen the next day. I really appreciated that night because it was a culturally educational night. Culturally educational. Like my dad, he didn't just do
he explained everything to everyone. And
yeah, because we had different people. We had Dominicans, we had Caucasian, we had people from different parts of Africa.
We did, yeah.
We had people we had the whole Guyanese crowd. We had the American crowd. We had Trinis. We
had Black Americans.
Yeah, the Black Americans.
Yeah, they don't know about
who
that
aren't
stuff.
Familiar. So it was educational. I really appreciated not just the people that came, but especially your family for embracing this new thing.
Yeah. They were all about it. They were all about it.
Because they knew my father played, so they've always seen. They've always
wanted to see him live. Yeah. Like they've always wanted to see him.
I got a chance to, for the first time, ever play with my dad. Funny story.
And your siblings.
I got to play with my dad and my siblings because I brought my drum.
Baby drum.
I actually bought that drum in 2019 in preparation for our kwekwe for the 2020 wedding.
Wow, and I didn't know that.
I was gonna take lessons from my dad so I could be ready, but that never happened because I'm lazy. So this was my first time publicly playing. This is my first time playing for that long period of my first time really playing the drum.
Yeah.
And I got to play with my dad, my brother, my sister.
You did pretty good.
My brother, thank you. My brother who wasn't there, which all three of us are glad he wasn't because out of all of us, he's the one that can play. So
really?
Oije is the one that can actually like play.
I didn't know that.
Luckily he wasn't there, so we actually got to look decent. Because people would have been able to expose us as frauds if Oije was there. Because Oije can actually play the drum. He has some videos of him playing with my dad. I think he has more experience playing with my dad. So yeah, I really appreciate that everybody, no matter what your background
everybody
was,
had so much fun at the Kwekwe.
Yeah, everybody
even
embraced it.
The people who couldn't make it to the Kwekwe, they're like, dang, I should have went. Like, it looks so much fun. I'm like, it was. Yeah.
So, what was your favorite part of that night? And I want to stick with that night because I think when we talk about Thursday, we'll end on talking about Thursday because that will lead into Saturday. But go ahead. So what was your favorite part?
My favorite part of that night was when other people had to dance for us.
Oh yeah,
to like get our grade up.
Yeah.
With your dad.
I tagged in my little brother, the dance hall king of Brooklyn. I tagged him in, and he weighs less than me. Think about that, people. Skinnier and weighs less than me. Both of his knees are facing that way.
No,
he's like my dad.
No, they're not. Why would you say that?
Okay. So I tagged him in, and he represented me dancing. That was like one of the most recent IG videos that I posted, and you tagged in your.
I tagged in my cousin Kathy, and then Mericis.
Yes. So I know Kathy. One of my aunts referred to her as the spicy one. She was spicy. The spicy one.
Great. Now my nose is red.
So that was fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. Like it was fun because people, they felt comfortable knowing like no, the purpose is to like dance and like gyrate and like have fun. And I feel like because when it's wedding related, you're like supposed to like
very formal and
everything's
proper,
like, and we're like, no, like go crazy,
turn up.
Yeah.
And then I also brought my laptop, so I DJ'd a little bit, and we played music for everybody, so everybody danced.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part would have been when, I think this is the entrance with me and my guys and my whole family.
I was hiding in a closet, so I didn't see that.
So as part of it, to start the night off, those who aren't aware, my family would go outside and we'll sing some songs while we're outside, and we kind of march in. It kind of represents, I guess, from how my dad said it, there would be two Kwekwe's going on, one with my family, one with your family.
And then like your family would be going to
we would go to your village
to like find me.
Yeah, we would get you, and pretty much just, the song we were singing was pretty much saying, hey, tell Vicky's family Ode is coming to take away their daughter. Mm-hmm. And then I went in, we all walked in. I had to find Vicky. I totally went the wrong way. I was searching the bathroom, all kind of stuff. Because,
How did you eventually get there?
I found you. I know where my wife is. So I found you. I was like, I smell my wife. that's bad, isn't it?
That's weird.
I sensed my wife. I don't know. So I looked around.
I was sweating. I was like, oh my goodness, if something crawls over my foot here.
So I made my way over to the closet, found Vicky, and that represented, yes, we can get married now because I found her. Had I not found her, we can't get married. So I found her, and that's how the night started. The night ended at maybe midnight, 12:30.
No, like
10?
2. It's so funny because your aunt, she's like, oh, so you're gonna be here all night, right? I'm like, no, I got an early date tomorrow. Like, tomorrow's my wedding day. I gotta get a lot of rest. I gotta wake up early. I still have to go home and finish some things. I'm gonna leave at 12. Like 12 is my max. I'm going home. She's like, yeah, you'll be here till 2. And sure enough, I was there till 2.
So that was Thursday. For those of you who saw the videos and wondering what that was, and like what you saw or whatever. So before we talk about Saturday, we have to talk about the rehearsal, which was Thursday. So this is I said this was the first of the wedding festivities, the rehearsal. Not a rehearsal dinner. We just did a rehearsal.
We were going to do a rehearsal dinner, and then we were like, we're just like not those kind of people. No, it's just like there's just so much going on. Yeah. And a rehearsal dinner, you have to show up looking nice, and you have to like feed people and like thank them. I'm like, no.
And again, Thursday morning was spent, Costco was running around,
yeah,
picking
so that's
up
why
stuff.
we were like, it's just too much. I don't want to do that.
So Thursday, you went there first.
I went there first.
To the venue.
Because I'm like, I want to get some things sorted. The last time I was here was like a month ago. So I just want to get some things, make sure that everything is set to go how it's supposed to for Saturday. Get some last minute things set up, whatever.
Heading to the venue, what did you already have like set in your head?
Okay.
You went to the venue knowing what?
I went to the venue knowing that I had a specific room that I was going to have the ceremony in. Because the original room, which I'm still convinced we saw a completely different room the first time we went. I didn't like the room that we were going to be married in, which we eventually did get married in. But I didn't like the room, and they were like, oh, we have this room, we have this new room, and we're going to be able to, like, you can do it here. And I was like, oh my goodness, I love it. And I was like so excited. I don't know. I went into it very nervous because of what happened like a few weeks ago. So I'm like, no, they got it. Like, let me just walk in faith, not fear. And then I fell right into that trap. I walked in and I was like, okay. And he's like, hey.
Should have walked in with, in fact.
Right. The coordinator, he's like, okay, so let's go check out the room where you're going to get married. And I see him walking me somewhere. And I'm like, where are we going?
Bruh.
He's like, this is where you're getting married. I'm like, no, it's not. And so he's like, wait, what are you talking about? So I tell him, he's like, yeah, but all the notes. I'm like, I don't care what the notes say. I was here for like 3 hours last time. This is not what was told to me. Let me walk you through what was told to me. So I walk in there, and eventually, like you know, like when some people, like, you think that someone's trying to pull a fast one on you, but then they start giving you like these little details that you're like, there's no way they knew that unless someone literally said all of this to them.
Okay.
So I think that that's what happened. Like at first he's like, oh, maybe she wandered in here and now she's like trying to pull a fast one on me. But then I started giving him like details. I'm like, no, because they told me this, and this is what they told me, and they told me this. And he's like, come, hold on. And so like he was like trying to figure everything out. And it just didn't work out.
There was a miscommunication.
There was a ginormous There was a over promise that they weren't able to. No. It's nothing bad. There was a miscommunication, not with. Well, I'm trying to clarify. It wasn't with me. It was within themselves. But the guy was trying to like, no, he's like, listen, I know you can't have that room, but I want to make it happen. Like, I want to make something happen for you that's like within what you want. But again, like, this is coming from a day of lifting heavy stuff, like just waiting around, and the day's just been dragging. There's so much to do. There's no time, and I'm like already stressed. And I get there, and it's like the one thing that I really wanted, I no longer can have. Was that room. Like, when they told me that I could have that room, that's when I finally started picturing the wedding. Like, up until that point, I'm like, no, I can't picture it. I need to see things. I can't picture it.
So Vicky's in a bad mood.
So I was in a terrible mood.
Here I come. He's
like, hey. Yeah. And I'm like,
everything's going to be great. Hey, my wife. So I'm now in a bad mood, not to defend my wife, but because I'm annoyed that
he's annoyed that I'm annoyed.
And then and not on some like Wonder Twins Unite. It was I'm annoyed because she just annoyed me by being annoyed, right? And
it's like the one thing the therapist said is like, stop letting your troubles gang up on you, like you gang up on the troubles. Yeah.
I was just like, I'm like, oh.
So, and then like the guy's like trying to talk to me. He's like, no, but tell me what you want. I'm like, I want you to stop talking to me.
So I'm trying to
stop talking to me.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything. I don't care. Like, stop talking to me. I'm like.
And that's Vicky for the rest of the rehearsal.
The entire time.
Our wedding party comes. Our pastor is there.
I'm super dry. I'm like.
Yeah. So our pastor comes and he senses the devil in the room. I'm kidding, but I'm still trying to. I'm telling the coordinator, like, don't worry, just. Give us what you can give us. We'll work with it. I'm literally telling him, don't worry about her. She'll be fine. She'll be fine.
And I was like, before they got there, I had told him, like, listen, don't ask me anything about this room. I don't care. I don't like it. Like, nothing that you do to this room will change it because I don't like this room. Like, unless the only way I'm gonna like this room is if it's that room. And because that's literally impossible, nothing you do here, because that's what he was trying to appease me. You know, like, he's like, tell me how I can make this work for you. What do you want? I'm like, there's nothing you could do. I'm like, so don't ask me nothing because I don't care. Whatever he wants to do, I don't care. I'm like, I don't care. And
I'm getting more annoyed hearing this.
Because I said it to him before you guys got there, and then he was like trying to include me, and I'm like, I don't care.
We're at the altar with the pastor. He's showing us where to stand, and Vicky's just there, like, and they're like, all of us are like, oh, so where do you want us to stand? Where we come? Vicky's like, I didn't want this room, so I don't care. I'm just there, like, I'm now being extra.
That's
I'm
my
there
answer
rolling,
to everything. Yeah. Well, I didn't even want to be here, so I don't really care.
So I'm there rolling my eyes. I'm there rolling my eyes. I'm there like, I'm looking at my guys like, wedding's off. If she says one more thing, I'm gonna call this. For real,
I was like, ooh, this wedding about to be off. So this is about to turn into a July birthday party fest, and you are not invited.
Yeah. And with that said, to be continued. Catch us on the next episode of You and Me podcast to see what happens next. But I actually do kind of want to end there on that little cliffhanger because we were literally like pissed at each other.
I was ready to call it off.
Little fun fact. In the original recording, we didn't talk about this.
No.
Up until yesterday, we couldn't talk about this without coming out. We had to first address how we acted that day.
Oh my goodness.
Because we agreed yesterday that we both handled that Thursday, that rehearsal, bad. We didn't acknowledge
each other, really.
Each other.
We didn't have each other's backs.
We didn't, yes.
Like, I wasn't thinking about him. He wasn't thinking about me.
I should have busted in there like, she wants a room. Get her the damn... No, but I walked in there
No. Like, I think, like, that we agreed that we should have checked each other as opposed properly. To, like... No, because that was the thing. We didn't check each other at all.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Like, we didn't... And if we would have checked each other, we should have checked each other in a way where it's like, yo, I got your back, but, like, come on, like, you got to fix your attitude and stuff. And we didn't do that. And I feel like that's... marriage rule number one, like just have your partner's back, like even if they're being a brat or they're being jerks, like have their back in a way that you're not putting them down to other people, because that's what we were doing. Because like in the car and like they're like, oh, they're like trying to talk to me. I'm like, I swear to God, if they looks at me, even blinks at me the wrong way, I'm gonna call this shit off.
And what's funny, prior to us like separating and you go into the car with them, I was saying to them, yo, when y'all leave, do not feed into her attitude. Don't bring up anything. If she says something, don't egg her on. She is being annoying, please. And can you please tell the other ones? That's what I was doing with them. I was telling them, yo, don't feed into her. Because she's going to just milk it and keep, like, the wedding's in 2 days. Like, nothing it was
like in a day and a half. In a day and a
half. So that's literally how we separated on Thursday. Her and her girls.
I don't even remember seeing you on Thursday. Like, after that.
Charles and I went to dinner that night. We went to Cheesecake Factory. I don't know where you guys went. What's wrong with us going to dinner? Where'd you guys go? Where did you guys go?
Home.
Were you home when I got?
Yes.
Can't recall. But I thought I assumed you guys would go and get food because nobody ate. So while Vicky's stressing, I went to dinner, had me some cheesecake. So we'll end there. So we're pissed off at each other. It's the day before our wedding eve.
And shout out to my mom. Like, my mom took out, because she took Kalel that whole week.
Oh, yeah.
And, there's no way we would have been able to do anything.
So,
but she takes him all the time.
We'll leave it there. For any couples who... shout out to my boy Sam. Him and his... Samori, him and his wife just got married Saturday at the same location.
Not the same room.
Same location, yeah. So, we'll leave it there. We're currently angry at each other. We have a big event the next day and an even bigger event on Saturday. Vicky just vented to her girls in the car. I was mature, and Charles and I sat in the car and went over Bible scripture.
First of all, they sat outside of the car while we were waiting.
They were, because you were waiting for what? The car seat.
We were waiting for the car seat.
But I'm like, me and the person. No, here's how I got pissed. Because I was like, okay, let me get the car seat. The person, there was somebody really close to us.
And they just stayed in their car.
Yeah. And I was like, let's wait till they move. And Vicky asked me, hey, I need the car seat. No, with her little attitude, little sass. She's like, I need the car seat. I was like, okay.
That's the thing. My sass is not like, that's not my sass. My sass is like, needs a seat.
That I was the equivalent of.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't do all the extra. I get very monotone. I have a dead face, and I just like, I do like slow blinking at you and everything. I'm like, he needs a car seat.
So I'm like, these people I'm waiting for them to move. And then we're waiting because they're tight. So then her cousin asked, so shout out to you, Jessica. She was like, where's the car seat? Whatever. That's her regular voice. That's how she sounds.
That's really not at all how she sounds.
I'm like, yo, I just told Vicky we're waiting for the person to move.
But mind you, we're all in the car and we're like, he can easily take out that seat.
But anyway, let me just damage someone's car. But anyways, stop talking.
Which he eventually ended up taking the car seat.
I have to like squeeze
with the
in.
car there. But he took it out.
The
point is he was able to take it out.
But anyway, so that's where we're at. So that night we're not talking. We still gotta interact on Friday, right? Friday morning. Why would we have to interact? We had to go get more stuff?
You had to get more stuff.
Charles and I had to go, yeah.
You were like getting stuff. I went to go buy some stuff.
Yeah.
We had to interact because we had to coordinate, but we didn't have to like see each other.
Yeah.
Which was funny because we had such a good time at the Quickway, even though I really didn't like you that day.
We put it all aside as soon as we got there.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
Like, so you have to see all the pictures.
We look like we liked each other.
Jill sent me pictures. She's like, oh my God, you were smiling all night. It's like you were in love. I'm like, girl, if I could have karate chopped and body slammed Ode in the middle of that room, if that was part of the tradition, I would have done it. That's why I came in sandals, ready.
So for any couples, please share your stories in the comments, Instagram, whatever, YouTube, and Spotify. I don't know if you can do comments. Did that happen to you where like the day before you were ready to just like, not just call it off, but to like bury that person? Wait.
You know what's funny? What I just realized? What? Okay, so the videographer had messaged me like saying, hey, you guys should write something like nice to each other and you guys can read it on the camera. And I was like, we don't want to do that.
I didn't want to see what I was going to write. It was
because of that. Because I'm like, yo, nah.
I would have been like, dear Vicky, everyone 30 or above knows how I'm going to finish this. I hate your stinking guts. You are the... Do you get the reference?
Yes, I know.
What's the reference?
That's from the movie with the kid and the thing, Little Rascals.
The movie, you're right. So we'll end there.
Wasn't it to Delilah?
Yeah, Darla. Dear Darla, I hate your stinking guts.
I got one.
Dear Vicky. So we'll end there and we'll catch up with you guys next week or whenever we put out part 2 where we talk about how we somewhat reconciled for Saturday or how we got to Saturday.
Yeah, we did not reconcile Saturday.
We didn't reconcile until
yesterday.
Yeah. I'm laughing because it's true. But we had the best time from the moment we walked out to the moment.
It was fun. It was fun. The wedding was fun.
Because we argued before the wedding. We argued.
And we were like right partying together at the wedding. We're like, hey, I fucking got you.
Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the You, Me, We podcast.